Hello, everyone. Nytmare here, and this is Whale FM's Fireside Chat with Artists. In this show, we talk about everything and anything art and crypto in the NFT scene with designers and creators alike, otherwise known as non fungible tokens. My guest today is Hamad of Hamad's World, a digital artist whose unique emotive creations drip with his signature style that revolves around pain, mental health, love, and life. Hamad, thank you so much for joining us today. Hamad, can you hear us?
Yes, perfectly.
Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee. Little Anchorman reference. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Was my intro so bad that you had to walk away for 5 minutes?
No, it was
No.
all good.
All right, just making sure. Just making sure. I actually came across your art with the work that you had done for Juice World and that visualizer that they did, and your work was in it, and was just really taken back by your style, and it's almost claymation-esque what you do. And also saw that our community lead Alegria followed you, and a lot of other people in the NFT space, and just thought it was really interesting, your perspective on why you do what you do, and your artwork in general. So really psyched to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for noticing my work too.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So I'm going to scroll through it a little bit and just give the audience kind of a frame of reference of what I'm talking about. And while I do that, could you just walk us through a little bit your background in art and your journey to get to where you are today?
Yeah. So I've been painting all my life since I was around 3 years old. Like I was taking classes. My dad signed me up for classes. Uh, in high school, middle school, and college, I only ever took one class per like 4 years. I never got a chance to like actually pursue art until I was doodling in class and not focusing. So I never really saw the talent in my art, right? It was just like doodles to me. I never saw the talent in my art till I think it was senior year of college. And at that point, I was like, I'm done with school. I have some time. Let me focus on my art a little. I picked up 3D the same month I graduated, and I started doing 3D daily renders back in January 21. So it's been around 5 months of working on 3D every day. And the style just came to me, to be honest. Like, what inspires me the most is my music, my past, just trauma, psychology, like stuff that you can't really talk. So I'm from Kuwait. You can't really talk about this stuff in Kuwait, and my way of expressing myself is through my art.
It's funny you say that because it's very emotive. Like the style that you do with 3D, it almost kind of softens it, or like draws people in, and then you can see a lot of, I don't know, pain and introspective vibes, and suffering, and just kind of working through different emotions. At least that's the vibe that I get out of it.
That's so cool to hear, because it's like what I do is I'll take a I'll take a memory, and then I'll visualize it, but in a way where anyone can interpret it how they want to interpret it. So if someone's going through the same pain I'm going, they can just feel that through a picture rather than me explaining my whole story, them explaining their whole story, and then like crying about it.
Yeah, and I feel like because it's 3D and the texture that you give things, um, I don't know, it just seems more tangible and more real, right? It just, when people talk about movies sometimes and they talk about the difference between pure CGI and when they use puppets and things that just show more texture and tangibleness, it evokes more emotion. And I feel like you definitely harness that well, even though obviously it's all rendering on a computer.
Thank you so much. Yeah, everything's 100% digital.
So you said you had no real formal training. You just picked it up 5 months ago and started messing with it.
Yeah, it's 3D especially.
Very cool. Um, so tell me a little bit before we bridge to NFTs, which you've done and have done well with them as well. Were you involved in cryptocurrency at all?
So beforehand, I was somewhat involved into Bitcoin. My uncle is very invested in it. He was one of those investors that got into it, I think, before it was $1. But So I like somewhat knew because he would always tell us about it, like whenever he came to lunch, just give us the news. Because he's like, he dedicated his whole life into cryptocurrency. So, like, seeing what he did and then learning about NFTs and art, I never stepped into crypto until like I actually fully trusted it. And with art, it seemed like I was ready to just jump forward.
Very cool. So how did you get introduced into NFTs in the crypto art space?
So my friend, his name is Emotional. I think he was also featured on the Will interview. Um, Back when Rarible first opened, he was one of the first artists I knew that got into NFTs and minted an NFT on Rarible and sold like within the first week. At first, I was skeptical because I honestly had no idea about cryptocurrency still, and I wasn't gonna jump into something I didn't know, and I didn't want to end up losing money from by minting fees and then just having art out there in the open. Because I was never one to like post art too.
Really?
Yeah, and then I joined Rarible in November, and then I posted my first NFT in December, and made my first sale then. Yeah.
That's very cool. And I see that, you're on you're on Foundation as well. I think Known Origin also, right? So you've had, significant success. There's a lot of new artists that try to break into the NFT space and seem to have trouble getting traction. And I think it's kind of a testament to how unique your approach is to the art. Of course, Rarible always wants to pick and choose when it works on my computer. But definitely you made a splash.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I mean, I feel like in order to also, I don't know anything about success, but like in order to like stand out, just be yourself. Like I never like worried about whose art was gonna make it or whose
Right.
art stands out the most. It's just like it was about expressing myself and like doing fan art when I want to do fan art, or just another bad day. Okay, visualize it. Done.
Right. So you touched on this a little bit. Like, where do you draw your inspiration for these? I see a lot of themes and mentions in your different socials about mental health and about emotions. What really drives your process?
So I'm very interested in psychology. My dad's a psychologist himself. Mental health is like important in our family, and from the Middle East, no one talks about mental health. So it's literally like the main topic in our household. So at one point, I never knew what I wanted to do with my knowledge on psychology. But then starting like I started like pinpointing some more themes into my art and just using the knowledge I read about. I put that into my art now. It's just it's just something I'm very interested in, to be honest. Like I focused on my psychology for so long that I wanted to like spread everything I know.
Yeah, and a lot of people find the most moving artwork come from a cathartic place from the artist, where it's really an opportunity for them to express and emote in ways that they hadn't before. And like you said, where you came from and the environment, it was kind of repressed, and so this is kind of an opportunity to really express it in ways you hadn't before. So that's very cool.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
How would you characterize your style and your aesthetic?
Um, I would say cartoony, childish, but also at the same time mature. Like I want people to get like I want them to know that this is made for adults, even though it's like fun to look at, and like the messages are deeper than what the actual image is.
Right. And you can totally get that vibe. So I can see that 100%.
Thank you.
This has almost like, to me, like a claymation kind of call to. Were you fans of that type of animation, or do you have inspiration that comes from that realm?
Oh, growing up and still like I watch anime. I watch old '90s cartoons. Cartoon Network and Disney Channel cartoons was my go-to. Usually Cartoon Network, like Tom and Jerry, Courage, Powerpuff Girls. Uh, My Best Friend is a Monkey.
Right.
Yeah, like it was those shows that I grew up with. The claymation stuff, I feel like that's definitely inspired when I was a bit older. Like, so whenever we would come to the US, like Cartoon Network was like my main channel, right? Because I would wait up late at night until Adult Swim came on, and Adult Swim was like, to be honest, like that was one of the best parts about TV history to me. So I would always put Adult Swim on, and I think the one show that I get a lot of inspiration from is not Adult, Robot Chicken.
Right. Right. I can definitely see that. And I notice is this like a signature style of yours? Because in most of these pictures, the eyes have this X on one side and the O on the other.
Yes, so that's like something I've been trying to work on too. So XO stands for they're supposed to be symbolized as a stitching on the left eye, and the right eye is a button. But because I started moving into like humanoid uh characters, I started giving them like actual pupils and just X's.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, it originated like it's more. It has like a deeper story to it.
Well, that's what we want to hear. Let us know
Oh,
if you're up for
okay.
sharing it.
Yeah, of course. So it's about half dead and half alive. Just like just knowing that it's okay to feel down sometimes, and it's also okay to feel happy, like really high sometimes. Like you're gonna have like ups and downs, but you're human nonetheless. Like it's about being
Right.
kind to yourself, like the number two yourself. So being kind to yourself and being kind to others.
Right. And we're all walking around with that duality, right? Like we all have tragedy and we all have joy and triumph, and it's mixed in this volatile kind of storm that we're going through.
Exactly, and like the stigmas are changing slowly, but for the most part, people still think it's okay to like keep everything bottled up.
Yeah.
Like they don't think it's okay to be two-faced in the way that they think it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're complex creatures, and the mind is a lot more complex than the simple boxes and paradigms people try to stick it in, whether that's, you got to be macho or you have to be, the strong woman or whatever the stereotype and archetype is. So it's great to hear discussion about it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to express that. That's normal.
Yeah, like I'm a 23-year-old Kuwaiti man. Like if I still don't think Kuwait knows about my art. So if I like go walk into Kuwait, I mean I have been in Kuwait. If I like walk into a store and I tell them about my art or like what it represents, they would look at me so funny. And I feel like the only people who would be looking at the art are the type of people who would look at, not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's like the type of people who look at art just because it looks cool, not because of like the meaning behind it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? With a lot of art, that's kind of that's the vehicle. Sometimes it's a Trojan horse, right? A lot of great musicians, and I'd love to talk about how music inspires you in a little bit, but a lot of great musicians create songs that people just think bang or are great compositions, but there's a lot of messaging inside it that they don't even realize until afterwards, and it's really digested. It has a subconscious effect on people sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I noticed the Pokemon references here, even for the very first one. Were you a big Pokemon fan as well?
Oh yeah, hell yeah! I played every single game, from like the Game Boy all the way to the DS, all the way to. I tried the Switch version, but I didn't like the Switch version.
Right. How about the tangible collectible cards?
No, I used to have Pokemon cards, but I never played games with them.
Right.
I usually just collected them because they look cool. Because I tried to redraw them, but I could never my sketching wasn't the best.
Right. It's always interesting, the people that were interested in it and then were involved in the NFT space, because obviously that's kind of an example of collectibles and scarcity and value and stuff that NFTs kind of play in that realm. And now God knows what's going to happen when they actually make their entrance into the NFT space officially.
That would be so cool, to be honest.
Right. So we touched on music. Talk about your love for hip hop. Because
Uh,
that's really prevalent in your artwork.
yeah, that's like that's my main genre. That and classic rock. But hip hop, I feel like I didn't start listening to it till. I mean, I've always listened to like Eminem and I think it was just Eminem. Yeah, I mean Eminem and Wiz Khalifa. But like to me, that was just like radio music, right? I never like actually did the research on hip hop culture and dug deeper with any kind of genre except for hip hop. And I think that started freshman year of college. I just listened to a lot of like so many different rappers.
Right.
Yeah. And then I started getting into the history of hip hop was until I want to say 2 3 years ago. Like learning more about Tupac and Biggie, their influence, learned more about New York, learned more about Atlanta. It was I like did my own like crash course on hip hop, basically.
Right. Right. That's super cool to hear from that perspective, because so many people, we take for granted that we've experienced it over a long period of time, and you actually went back and did your homework to really be able to absorb and find what you like.
Of course, because hip hop plays such an important part in my life. I had to like like giving it justice. Like I had to learn everything about it before I can even like listen to it. Because I listen to it every day, from when I wake up to when I sleep.
So, can you tell me what is it about that genre of music that particularly appeals to you?
It's inspiring to me. Like seeing someone come up from nothing based off of their hard work and talent, and like being poetic at it at the same time. It's just
Right.
like it just seems legendary, and like that's always something I wanted to do.
Yeah, and I can definitely see a similarity to, like we talked about, like crafting something that kind of encapsulates struggle and hardship, and the the positivity of the come up, and then acknowledging the struggle of the past that you've overcome and things like that. So very interesting correlation. I just wanted to call attention to this. So this was kind of your own take on Kodak Black's cover, right?
Yeah, painting
And,
pictures. Yeah.
and it was highlighted in Cover Art Matters, which likes to feature and talk about kind of premier cover art for any genre of music, really. So this was the original, and this was your interpretation of it.
I wanted to give it a toy vibe.
Did,
Like
did they reach out to you after this? Because I would think someone would came knocking after they saw this.
no, Kodak saw it. He retweeted it, but that's about it.
Yeah. Have you done cover art for any other artists? Or are you starting to get some inquiries?
I mean, I do get questions, and based off my prices, I get a lot of no's. Like it's just like I. The reason why I charge so much is because 3D takes a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It takes like almost a week to get a piece like actually to get it the way I want to get it. But
Right.
I've done a total of 5 cover art so far. It's not something I want to do, but it's something I would like to do for one of the bigger artists, like someone who I listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a bucket list thing, maybe, or just kind of a cool goal to be able to say that you did that. I assume when you say people were balking at the prices, that you're talking about like more like local or independent artists.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you don't have to
it's
name.
like you don't know their names. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot.
No, no, I know.
Everybody got a budget, so.
Exactly. Can't hate
um,
on that.
but that's dope. I'm sure as the word continues to spread, someone will definitely reach out. How about this work that you did, the 3D animation for the Juice World Candles visualizer? How did that come about?
So I originally made the piece beforehand. It was the 3-year anniversary for the album itself, and I was like, I always wanted to recreate this cover. It's the 3-year anniversary. Okay, let me do it. And like I said, let me see how fast I can get it done. I think it took about 6 hours to finish at first for the still, and then the next day, my friend hits me up, like someone I connected to on Twitter, but like I think of him as my friend. He hits me up. He asks me, "Yo, do you want to be in a juice visualizer?" I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then he says, "Can you animate this? I'm gonna connect you with my friend." He connects me with his friend, who's like deep into the productions for, I think, a certain label, and he tells me what he needs from me, what he wants, and I do it, right. So and I go and I animate the piece, and I've never animated a piece before. So I was just trying to do what I could, and like that was the most I could do in less than 24 hours. But all in all, it's just a cool opportunity to be in like a Juice World visualizer.
No, 100%. And you were a fan of Juice, I assume.
Yeah, no, I love Juice. I still do.
What a fitting tribute, right? So like that was super dope to be able to be part of. And like I said, that's how I actually came across your work, and then saw that other people in the community were just fans. So definitely had to hit you up.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It was such a cool opportunity.
So it sounds like this is really cumbersome to do the 3D work. What's the like from inspiration to the time of execution? Like you get an idea, you work on a piece. What kind of timeline are you looking at?
So it depends on like what inspires me. If it's something simple or something complex, because I can do anything between a couple hours to a whole week. Like the most I've ever spent on a piece was a week.
A week. Wow.
Because I used to do dailies. I used to do daily renders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say you have so much dope work here on the Insta that's not even minted as an NFT.
Yeah, no, because I was just working on my dailies, just like having fun, seeing what I was like capable of before trying bigger projects.
Right.
And like that's what I came up with. So like right now I'm like in this little break hibernation mode, just like plotting my next move.
Okay. Yeah, and you still dabble with the painting, right?
Sometimes, yes.
So this is obviously not a 3D piece, but this was still digital.
Oh, that is so. This is 3D.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are elements to this that are 2D by my friend Alucard.
Okay, so this is like a collaboration.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Yeah, so sick, and half of this isn't even minted yet, so can't imagine what you're about to come to the table with soon.
Thank you.
How do you feel your art has evolved since you started? And it seems like it hasn't even been that long, but you are one of best in class, obviously, at what you do. How do you think you've progressed so far, and what are you looking to do going forward?
Thank you. Going forward, just keep doing what I'm doing. To be honest, be more conscious of the type of art I'm making and like the messages I want to portray, and like actually go for some self-healing kind of art, because I feel like I got into a depressive state for too long and I didn't want that to show in my art. So I just got to be more conscious of what I'm doing and how far my art has gone so far. I mean, what I've noticed is that I'm getting better at sculpting. That just like, to me, it feels like it's more muscle memory now. So it's like, that's only natural. But idea-wise and creativity, I'm at this point, I'm just like, I'm happy and I'm amazed by like what I'm capable of doing so far. Because 3D art just feels like my calling, you know? Like, I never messed with a program so much that I ended up like just dedicating my whole time to. And like, it feels like my first time playing PlayStation.
Right. But that excited when you got it and opened it up too. I bet we get new software
every day.
So what tools are you using for the artists that are watching and interested?
So I just use Blender.
Okay, just Blender. Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll use Procreate just to play with saturation and noise, like stuff you can do on Photoshop. But I don't have Photoshop, so I use Procreate.
Very cool. This is cool. We had Prob Kaz on here as well, and it makes sense, right? You being a hip hop fan and both of you guys stylistically doing work together. So this is very, very cool to see.
And I loved Prob's music before he hit me up, and then he hit me up for a collaboration, and I was so happy about that too. Like I connected with him. Like that's my bro now. We have a collaboration dropping soon too.
Yes, and he's deep embedded, right? He's got his pop-up shop in the metaverse. He's got the Lucy's project going on, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
So
and he started dropping shoes now.
yes, yes. I actually had to put some bass jackers and some other big musicians that we had onto it because they were looking for custom. So
That's awesome.
great talents and great minds working together. Love to see it. Physical art. Are you still doing any? Or are you strictly in the digital world now?
So so I want to do 3D physical prints, right? And I did my first one recently for my known origin piece. It's my first ever 3D printed piece, and just after that sells, I'll be able to like use the money and actually start doing more physicals. Because the only type of physicals I want to do are toys right now,
Okay.
and or like digital wallpapers for like screensavers, make big posters, walls. Like think more franchise.
Very cool. So you made this piece here into a physical?
Yes. Yeah. I have a picture of it on my Twitter if you want to see it too.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to.
Just go on media. Yeah. And then scroll down. There should be a video, and then you should see the photos too. It shouldn't be that long ago either. Because like what you'll notice now more about my art too is I try to make them standing as if they were actual toys.
Right. The physical component, is that something you're working on with a third party or a 3D printer? How exactly are you working on that?
So this one I ordered from a website. Soon I'm gonna continue using the website until I get my own 3D printer, and then until I team up with someone else and they actually learn and not they learn, but like they do like the specifics that I want for my toy specifically, then I'm ready when they are.
So I assume this is in process, or is this the finished piece?
So this is the finished piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you going to leave this so the people that get it can interpret it and paint it however they want?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a do-it-yourself, or it's just keep it like that and set it in stone.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. If people are interested in this, what's the process? They DM you, or do you have this for sale somewhere?
It's on known origin. The reserve price is at 3 ETH, and there's a 1 ETH offer right now.
Oh, okay. So the NFT comes with the physical.
Yes.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
I contact whoever gets it, get their shipping info, send
Right.
it up to them.
and it sounded like you dropped a little alpha on us there. You alluded to franchise and having, kind of recurring themes and characters. So it sounds like you got some big plans in the works.
Yes. That's
Very
all I
cool.
want to say.
It leaked. So, you talked about mental health. I know you feel strongly against some other things, and you're an advocate for some different things like race equality and fighting against racism and things like that. How do you feel about incorporating your activism into your art? Do you try to do that or keep it separate?
No, I try to do that. I have a bunch of pieces coming out for like for Black Lives Matter and for police and justice. It's just like it's part. I'll drop a little teaser too. I have a collab coming with a rapper. It's an NFT collab. Not sure if we're dropping next month or the month after, but I know it's a summertime drop. And just one of the songs is about equality, and I got to do art for the whole project, but this one's like something I've always wanted to do and like actually have a platform to actually speak out on it too.
And that's very cool. Is this someone new entering the NFT space, or are they already here?
No, it's someone I think he's been in it from the start. His name is Superboy.
Okay.
Got Magic.
Okay. Very cool. We're
Yeah.
definitely going to be on the lookout for that. Now, you mentioned sculpting, and obviously you do a lot of this in Blender. Have you tried any AR or VR stuff?
So I've tried VR. I've tried a program called Medium and VR Sculpt and Gravity Sketch. They're just like I like Medium. It's by Adobe. It's very bubbly, very cartoony. I'm very interested in it. I know my friend Null does it, but for me personally, I like Blender and the results I get from it just because I don't know. I feel like I can tell the difference when something's made in VR and when it's not, and I'd rather not have people, me specifically, look at it and be like, "Oh, this was made in VR. Oh, this was made in Blender." I want you questioning like where I made it.
Right. What about from an experience perspective, though? I'm sure you might be interested in seeing, some of these characters in kind of a 3D experience where you could walk around them, see behind them, etc.
Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah, I haven't figured out how to do that yet, to be honest.
I could definitely see that happening, especially if you keep expanding and branding kind of the aesthetic. That would be something that people would want to be a part of, or actually take some of your characters into the metaverse, right? Or whatever platform would allow to some semblance of detail for what you do, because you're far beyond anything that's available now. But it still would be cool, especially with, I can just imagine how much people are going to love and get attached to the specific characters.
Thank you so much.
Any thoughts on the smart contracts and like the different capabilities that you could do with it besides, just minting and having your art? There's a lot of interactive opportunities that people are just starting to explore.
So about smart contracts, yeah, there is that first part that you said, and also for collaborations, can actually split them evenly, not worry about gas fees from one hand too.
Right.
Like it's exciting.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's people doing stuff where the actual art changes based on conditions like the weather or the price of Bitcoin or whatever. A lot of cool stuff to come. So I think it's just an exciting time to be in the space. I think it's energized a lot of artists just because there's so much blank space that they're filling in. Like with the stuff that you're doing is going to kind of set the precedent going forward. You got kind of a lot of runway to build out.
Thank you. That means so much, to be honest. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So what are your thoughts on scarcity and kind of how artists should handle that paradigm and how they should do their work with regards to editions and things of that nature?
So I like to be rare. I like to be like, if I'm gonna do a collectible, it'll be something like I have to think about. So personally, I think should keep it rare. Keep it to, in terms of like minting, I honestly don't know when too much is too much. But for me and like how I think about it is a three drop collection every, honestly, like every 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Full of making a drop like that. And if you have goals to like if you have goals to like make a career out of your art.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's people that are becoming successful doing it a bunch of different ways, right? And so rarity is certainly one component, and a lot of people advocate for that because they're thinking also about the long-term value in the aftermarket and a lot of things like that. And some people just, man, they're machines and they just pump out volume, right? And they just want to express and mint it all the time. And it's interesting to see that both are really having success right now.
Yeah, no, I've seen that too, and I've seen a lot of talk about is mint like is there a like is there a cap on minting and like how many pieces you should be minting? A lot of people say yes, a lot of people say no. It's like, if it's working, why not? But then if it's not working, then don't do it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, if some people have unsold pieces, but they'll keep minting every day, but then there are people who actually sell those pieces and continue to mint at the pace that they're minting at.
Right. I'd be interested to see the resales on people that are doing that, but maybe they're not interested in that. They're just interested in getting their art into the hands of collectors. Everyone, like you said, everyone approaches differently, but certainly with the amount of time that it takes you to do what you do, I could see why you would lean on the side of more scarcity and more scarce than not.
Yeah, because right now for NFT art, because it's collectible art, I want, for me personally, I want my art to be I just want it to be different, and I wanted to say, like, I want you when you see it, you know it's my work, but at the same time, you see what you saw
Right.
yourself.
Right.
So it's just like I want to cross that line, and then become greater, and then the whole franchise part comes after that.
Well, now we know, so we're gonna be watching for sure. So you alluded to that. You alluded to the project you got coming up with the MC. What's your next project that we'll probably see released?
Released. I've been working on one piece. I just don't know when I'm gonna drop it because I'm thinking about animating it. I want to say by the end of this month.
Okay.
By the end of this month, 100%. And in terms of finished piece, yeah, that's all I got. I think I'm gonna be minting it on Foundation or on Known Origin, just depending. So I have a question for you actually.
Okay.
So I have my Genesis is still on Known Origin. Would it be okay if I minted another piece on there, or do people usually wait for their Genesis to sell and then mint again? Because I like that part. I still don't understand.
I mean, you've had success in sales on the other platforms, right? Um, I'm not an artist that mints myself, so I'll see if the community chimes in with any comments on that. But I would think I would be okay to go forward with it. And as you appreciate in stature and in value to the community, then that Genesis piece is going to become more and more valuable.
Awesome.
That's my opinion, and there could be other people that have different ones. But I think your work is impactful. It's not like it's very similar to a lot of stuff out there. So I think the more exposure that you can get and the more excitement you could drive in turn will eventually have this want to be scooped up by someone that says, hey, I want to have this first piece.
Thank you so much. No, that's what I was asking, just about your opinion specifically.
Yeah, and then I already got an agreement from the community that's listening in. So there's people that have different approaches, but I think your particular style warrants continuing to move forward. And
Okay.
there's a lot of artists now where their work sells for astronomical amounts of ETH, and it's hard to get a hold of, and they're OGs and all this other stuff that when they were first launched and trying to get their name out there, their stuff sat there and it was crickets for a while. So it's part of the journey for some people, but I think you're pretty aware of the effects of over minting and trying to manage, scarcity and things of that nature. So I think you would be fine to put something else up there.
Awesome. Okay.
Now, some artist tells me, Nytmare, you're an idiot. I'll let you know. But so far we look good.
No, I think everything you're saying is pretty accurate, to be honest.
So you mentioned the franchise and a lot of stuff coming out. Where do you see your work and what you're doing with art in the next 5-10 years? Long term, where do you want this to progress?
5 years, you will know about me. In 10 years, I'll have a store dedicated to my work, thinking more like Hello Kitty, like around that kind of theme. You know what I mean? Like have a character, have it based off of the character, and just like continue using the character as a branch of the main company of It's Hamad's World, right?
Right.
Because I wouldn't want the franchise. I wouldn't want the store to be called It's Hamad's World. I'd want it to either be centered around the character's name or be kind to yourself. And then where we'd introduce new characters monthly or yearly, and with a new message every time.
Very cool. Maybe we'll see it come full circle and there'll be a video game with those characters in it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I'd get that game for sure. So we saw your collab with Prob Cause. You talked about the other one with the MC. Any other collabs in the works?
As of now, yes. I have a bunch of collabs, to be honest.
Okay.
With, 3D artists, painters, and more musical artists, and another 3D. Did I say 3D art and 3D artists and 2D artists? Just like artists of all kinds, to be honest.
Okay.
I always like, and a photographer too. So it's like Some new things are coming.
Yeah, just a little something. Sheesh. But it sounds like some high profile stuff and some stuff still you're keeping under wraps. So I appreciate all the peeks under the tent that you've given us so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I think, go ahead.
It's a cool experience to be here.
Yeah, no doubt. We're psyched to have you. You had mentioned, I think that when was your first mint? Was it January? Was it early this year?
My first mint, I think, was in November.
Okay, November. So,
Yeah.
what did you see as pain points trying to get involved in the crypto art space that can be improved upon?
So I was in Kuwait when it first happened. When I first got into Ethereum too, I just say make make international fees more accessible. There wasn't much knowledge on what NFTs were once they started dropping. I think one of my friends made a YouTube video, and that was basically the only knowledge there was. And Loopify, have you heard of Loopify, the Twitter account?
Yes.
The user, he was the only, he's the only, he was the base port for news about NFTs and Ethereum, and that's where I'd go to learn more, Google whatever I'd read, and that's about it. I just now at this point there's so much information for someone who wants to get into NFTs. It would just be about talking to someone who's more experienced in the world rather than someone who's just dipping their toes in it.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot more resources now, that's for sure. What would be your advice to new people trying to jump in and trying to get some traction? There's, like you said, people that minted and they're still waiting for their first sale.
To be honest, don't worry about it. I didn't get my first sale till 4 months after I first minted. Just continue working on your art, on your craft. Keep doing you. You were making art before it was even getting sold, so continue making art after, even after you keep selling it.
Right.
It's bigger than what you fear it is.
Yeah, and I think the authenticity matters, right? When people are minting, trying to get a sale, or they're pushing kind of that angle, it has limited lifespan, at least to me, right? You can get in a room and try to really advocate for it, but on its own, you're going to tell the stuff that's authentic and kind of calls out to you, like your artwork does.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Alternatively, what are some mistakes you would tell people to avoid and not do?
See, I'm the type of person who's done every mistake and now regretted it. So
yeah, so get in there, get your hands dirty, and just learn from it, right?
Exactly.
A question from the audience: what are some other artists or NFT artists that inspire you the most? I guess an opportunity to shout out any other artists that you're feeling or works you look at and say, that's dope.
So, of course, Emotional. He does dailies. He uses VRs. It's just cool work, cool characters. To see him come up with these things on the daily it just keeps me going. My friend Sim, his art is really cool. Generative art, AI. You wrote 3,000 lines of code just to make art. So see him go to that extent to make art before no one was buying it just makes me want to go deeper, and I started wanting to make animated movies just for no reason. So I'm working on that too. Sneak peek.
Oh, okay, man. I feel like I gotta make a recap of all the sneak peeks and alpha you're dropping. Dope.
And Alucard's a painter. Him and Zeus. Those guys. The creativity is unmatched, and you can tell when it's their style, which I really like about their art. I like to keep my art, my timeline stays authentic. I'm very, very careful about who I follow and the artists I follow.
Right.
I try to follow everyone back, but at the same time, I'm the curator. Just it has to be quality.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but at one point in time I did music, and I always found if I kept my circle, the people that inspire me and and I think is dope. What happens is they'll share something they're working on, and it just gets my juices flowing. I'm like, shit, I need to go make something now, because that was like, I'm fired up. Like, it really made me enthusiastic about creating and just catching the vibe.
Yeah, so that's exactly like how so these guys are my friends, and like I talk to them a lot of the time, and like they just keep me going. While they level up, I level up at the same time, and it's just like cool to see.
Very cool. Let me see if we have any more questions from the audience. How do you feel your time spent in Kuwait is translated into your artwork?
So I was born in New York, and then I moved to Kuwait for most of my life until high school and college, just for that context.
Okay.
Because I went to school here in the US, my way of tackling my emotions and like going through life was very different from the average Kuwaiti, right? So I went through the same things. We all went through the same things there, but I express it differently, and like I'm able to tackle it moving forward. And like the way I do it is more colorful and expressive rather than like bottle it in or grow up to be depressed about it. Not that I have a choice, but I'm lucky to do it.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of repression in Middle Eastern society, and standards to uphold with family and culture and a lot of stuff like that. So in some ways it was great that you found art, and
Yeah,
or art found you, however
art,
you want to look at it.
to be honest, art found me.
Right. Someone wants to know, what is your favorite anime to make art about, if you're doing a tribute piece or just something for fun?
Oh, One Piece, 100% One Piece.
Very cool. All I can say is very cool, because I don't know what One Piece is, so I get a minus on it. A minus on it. Could you tell me what One Piece is about?
You want me to tell you what One Piece is about?
No, I feel like that's a loaded question. I'll have to do my research afterwards, because the people in the audience do know, and I'm already getting scolded for it. So born in New York, spent time in Kuwait, college in Massachusetts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could choose if you could choose anywhere to live going forward, where would it be?
I want to say Boston or New York City. But Boston, to be more realistic.
Okay. I didn't want to say anything, but I don't know if you could tell from the New England accent. Like, I'm up here. So I appreciate that.
No, definitely Boston, just because like I'm here right now too. So it's just like it's nicer. I like you can walk here and like have it be peaceful at the same time rather than having someone all up in your business 24/7 too.
Yeah, no, I mean, shout out to my New York people. It's a friendly rivalry. They know how it is. So no disrespect to New York. There's some amazing places in New York that I like to visit. That's about it. No, I'm just kidding. It's amazing places in New York.
They're both beautiful.
Yeah, they definitely are. It seems like some of your friends had popped in the Discord to show you some support as well. So that's very cool to see. We covered most of the community questions, so I'd love to leave you with an opportunity to call out anything you want people to definitely be put onto or be on the lookout for, or any cause or anything of that nature.
So thank you for having me, Nytmare. The same artist I mentioned, I want everyone to look at them. They keep me inspired. They're hardworking. They will work as hard as I do. Very cool. And shout out to Wahid. I have collabs with him dropping all the time. It's just like he's also another cool 3D artist. He's one of my best friends. We have that energy that you'll see is unmatched in our collaborations. We've been working on them for months now. And stay on the lookout for my drop at the end of this month. And that's it. Thank you for having me, Nytmare.
Dope, Hamad. Thank you so much. Tell you what, if you could shoot me in a DM, the instas or the Twitter of those artists that you wanted to give a shout out, I will drop that in our Discord and on our socials so everyone can check them. I will also give everyone your socials and your platform links so they can grab some NFTs and follow you. And we will be on the lookout for big things to come. It sounds like a franchise. So let me know when we can buy in.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and listening. I appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.